So welcome. So we're going to be doing a brief overview of the ISEE lower level English. So my Wednesday courses will run an hour and a half. The open house is a little bit shorter, but the courses will run an hour and a half, starting at 6:30 to 8 p.m. Central Time, regardless of where you're at. We use Google Drive for resources. There will be homework that gets dropped into that Google Drive as well. So we'll go over that. All the class activities will be taking place in Zoom. There will be shared slides. There will be participation from the students during that time period. Okay, so let's go. My name is Byron Davis. I've been teaching ELA for 14 years. I actually have my master's in curriculum instruction. I'm now on my third reading curriculum that I've been writing. So I've taught elementary students, middle school students, high school students. And my second curriculum was a literature-based ESL program for college students that were based in South Korea, that were looking to transfer to a United States school. In addition, I was a Toastmasters member through Momentum. I also do a public speaking course, and that's from my Toastmasters experience. I started a public speaking club after I reached a certain level within Toastmasters. Teaching's really my passion. I've been doing it, as I've already read, 14 years. I've been teaching fourth grade students now. I'm in my my ninth year. So started my ninth year of just teaching fourth grade students in a row. I did teach fourth grade students prior to that, but this is my ninth year teaching them in a row. Okay. So the ISEE test comes in, there are 3 different testing sessions, and you can take it once during session. Because the people that I was speaking with, the scores for the school that you're going to or applying to are looking for scores in January, then you would have an opportunity to take it before that December date in that session. And then you could also take it again by the end of November in that session, and then also take it again during the winter session if you wanted to. Paying close attention to when to take the test and when they are due on the application. Now, again, this is for the people going into 4th or 5th. Okay, this is the elementary ISEE test. Alrighty, the lower level. Oh, sorry, 5th and 6th. I thought it was 4th. So it's students that were in 4th going into 5th and then 6th. Okay, so this is the one that we will be focusing on with this particular class. Alrighty, so this is the math prep one. Okay, and we'll take 3 mock tests, and you'll have weekly homework as well. Okay, and our class will be going August 30th through November 1st. All right, so we'll be covering 2 different portions of the test in here. It's the verbal reasoning, and we'll go over and show you a little bit of that, and then the reading comprehension. We don't cover the essay with this particular course. There are writing classes through Momentum. There are writing classes through Momentum if you are looking for some of that essay help on that. The essay isn't graded by the ISEE. It's sent to the schools. Okay, the verbal reasoning section consists of 2: vocabulary and sentence completion. So the sentence completion uses context clues, and the vocabulary is looking for synonyms. Reading comprehension, you're looking at 25 minutes to read the 25 comprehension questions. Usually that's going to be 5 passages from a variety of genres. They're testing your ability to comprehend at different mediums. Okay, so the raw score, scaled score, and percentile score. This is what's reported. You get 3 scores reported to school. Our goal is, so this reports as a 7 So the staining score is what we're looking at going for, and we're going for that 7, 8, or 9. This is how it gets reported to you. This is an item by item analysis. Okay, so you can see like the 4th synonym, so you can see almost the exact ones that you missed. All right, so here is an example, okay, or a sample of these synonym type questions. These will be type questions that we'll be breaking apart in class, but we'll be using these to use test taking strategies to get rid of wrong answers on these. We'll also be implementing some game formats in order to accrue points and also do quick response. So if you look at number 1, devote. So one of the things that I'd encourage first is try to knock out 1 to 2 of the wrong answers for that. And so when we're looking at it, when you devote, it would not be something that you're trying to do. When we think of devotion, it's something that you're all in on. So there's really not a try element with that. So try wouldn't be an answer that fit there. Okay, so I'd go ahead and cross out try. Okay, the second thing that I would look at is oh, thank you, Lily. That's great. So the second thing that I would look at doing is looking at my 3 remaining words. So I have commit, pick, and submit. Okay, then I start looking at which one is dissimilar from the others. Pick and submit are kind of antonyms. So I'd want to, one of those would definitely be wrong if they're antonyms. Okay, I pick an option or I submit an option. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of pick. And out of submit and commit, it's going to be commit. Now so for the synonym-based questions or the verbal reasoning questions, as these are known for the ISEE test, is these, when they are synonym-based questions, they are a little trickier considering the fluidity of the English language because there isn't a sentence there to help students. Okay, so this is their knowledge of higher level words and also their ability to know what the choice words are and their ability to cross those out and weed those out. Okay, so if we look at fundamental, okay, when we think of fundamental, the first two that jump out at me for being wrong is crazy and severe, just glaringly wrong on crazy and severe. And so that means that important or surplus, one of those means fundamental. And whenever we think of surplus, we think of extra. And if it's extra, that really doesn't lend itself to being fundamental. So that would be important. The students that are on the call with us, because I know I've got some parents and some students, but let's look at number 4. Okay. And on number 4, what would be one of the words, and you can just unmute and tell us, but what would be one of the words that you would mark out on number 4? Lily, what would be one of the words that you would mark out on number 4? So elaborate.
Tiring.
Tiring, yeah. So I'd mark out, I agree with that. When you think of something being difficult or tiring, those two kind of go hand in hand. So when you knock out tiring, I think you can knock out difficult as well. Good. Let's get somebody else. So another student that's in here, would you lean more towards considerate as a synonym of elaborate, or would you lean more towards detailed as a synonym of elaborate? Okay, so one of the things that I would look at is when I'm looking at considerate, okay, I think of thoughtful, okay, I think of caring, I think of nice. None of those things lend themselves to being elaborate. Okay, so detailed okay, would be, there we go. Okay, and so detailed would be your best one. Good. So looking at number 6, okay, vigilant. Well, when we think of vigilant, we can think of like a vigilante, somebody like Batman, somebody that is outside the law, fighting for their own justice, things like that. And definitely not somebody that we would describe as picky. So that wouldn't be vigilant. Disobedient, maybe, okay, but if you're vigilant against something, disobedience really not going to be the best fit there. Okay, so we have intolerant and observant. Okay, and when we think of like a security officer, okay, being vigilant, okay, we don't think of them as being intolerant. We think of them as being observant. So that's kind of the other method is getting students to create their own sentences. Even when you aren't provided with a sentence, the students can create the sentence using the word in order to sub out other words, as long as it's a word that they've heard before. And we're going to do a boatload of these synonyms, and they're going to have a boatload for homework so that that word recognition, okay, is going to come through. Alrighty. And we see some more. If we have time, we'll come back to these in just a little bit. Good. Let's look at these sentence completion questions. Now, these are more of your traditional questions where students can easily substitute in all 4 of the words. Okay. And then you just kind of break down with which word works best there. Now, with your sentence completion questions, they typically would give. Okay, so Olivia's in too. Awesome. So I got Lily and Olivia. Perfect. Okay, Olivia, I'm going to call on you in just a second. Okay, with these, there you go. With these questions, you typically will have 2 responses that in some way do work for the sentence. Okay, and so they're meant to trip you up because we're looking for what functionally is appropriate and also what works the best. Okay, what functionally is appropriate and what works the best. So let's look at number 1. Okay, to protect the health of diners, cooks must blank with the rule to wash their hands after using the bathroom. Okay, well, if you look at B and C essentially mean the same thing. Okay, so there's a problem. There's a problem that's a signal to me as a test taker. It's like, okay, hold on. Okay, these mean the same thing. Not they're close to meaning the same thing. They mean the same thing. Okay, so when you have that, it's almost a quick clue that you can cross those out. And then we look at comply and grow. And grow, cooks must grow with the rule to wash their hands after using the bathroom. Makes absolutely 0 sense to begin with. All right, Olivia, let's look at number 7 together. Okay, Precious did not want the tension during the holiday dinner to blank, so she changed the subject and told some jokes to lighten the mood. Okay, so this is important. Okay, if she it's important to know that she changed the subject. Okay, and she was trying to lighten the mood. Okay, now if you are changing the subject and you are lightening the mood, are you wanting the the tension to go up, okay, or down? Olivia, are you wanting the tension to go up or down if you're trying to lighten the mood?
Down.
Yeah, you're wanting it to go down. Okay, so that's a trick one here. Okay, because we're wanting the tension to go down, so we would think reduce. But let's go back to the sentence. Okay, Precious did not want the tension during the holiday dinner to blank. So she did not want the tension during the holiday dinner. Okay, so she's lightening mood. Okay, I love it, Samuel. I appreciate the help. No. You don't have to get rid of it. I like it. But if she's lightening the mood, okay, Samuel, go ahead and put your X back on and get rid of one of the wrong answers for me. We already said X was a wrong answer. Or sorry, reduce was a wrong answer. Get rid of another wrong answer for me, Samuel. Yeah, so she did. So that's almost crazy to think about that the tension would pass. We think about the tension passing. The tension passing would be a good thing. However, okay, it says that Precious did not want the tension during the holiday dinner to do this. Okay, and that's why pass doesn't make any sense. Okay, so last but not least, we look at this and we see that escalate is our best answer because escalate does mean to go up. Okay, all right, so let's look at number one on this page. Because of the restaurant's convenient location, okay, delicious food and great service, it, okay, was located next to a flower shop, went out of business immediately, was popular and earned a lot of money, or served both American and Mexican food. Now, Lily, and I know Samuel's helped you out a little bit, okay, but Lily, which one of those is a definite wrong answer because of, so it says it has a convenient location, it says it has delicious food, okay, and it says it has great service. So which one of those is a definite wrong answer?
B.
D, yes. So in D, it doesn't mention anything that would make us think of, okay, what type of cuisine it would cook there. There's nothing in here, okay, that helps us to understand that this is going to be a certain type of food. So D is a good answer for being a wrong answer. Good. Let's go with Olivia. Tell me about A. What are your thoughts on A?
It doesn't matter if it's like located next to like a flower shop, and like it doesn't have anything to do with what I said earlier about the convenient location, the delicious food, and the great service.
Right. Yeah. None, even a convenient location, okay? A convenient location doesn't necessarily mean next to a flower shop. So that's a clue for us that A is going to be out as well. Good. All right. So now when we look at that it has delicious food and great service, that's part of the emphasis, okay? The emphasis of that sentence, okay? So we see that being used, okay? And it gives us, it tells us that it would be let's see, went out of business immediately would be the opposite of it, would be an antonym. Good. Let's look at number 7. Okay. The swimmer was usually exhausted after the long practice. Therefore, she, okay. So our key word there, okay, is there a word in that sentence, okay, that you think that they want you, okay, they want you to recognize in that sentence where you're focusing on the meaning of that? Olivia, what word in that sentence do you think that they're asking you to focus on? Yes. Sorry, Olivia. Samuel jumped in, but yes, unusually exhausted. Okay, unusually exhausted. So when I think of unusually exhausted, okay, what describe to me what it means to be unusually exhausted?
Me?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Unusually exhausted, it's like she's not like usually exhausted, so she like wanted to rest instead of going out with her teammates, so like D would make sense.
Okay, D would make sense. But Olivia, what would be a synonym of unusually exhausted?
Um, unusually tired.
Unusually tired. Yeah, and you could just say tired. Yeah, but if you understood, if you made no, you're fine. But if you made the connection to, oh, they're talking about a girl that's tired, that helps you fill in the sentence. Yes, Samuel, you have a question. You want to do the next one?
Sure.
Awesome. All right, so let's look at number 6. From the top floor of the building, which is the tallest and newest in Philadelphia, one can, okay, so there's one of these, there's 2 of these, Samuel, that you can cross out right away. And I see you working on crossing those out, okay? So, well, why do we have 2 checks? Shouldn't there only be 1 check?
Well, both of them make sense, but yeah.
Okay, but no, let's look at this. Okay. So, all right. So, what information I have, okay, in this one is that this building I'm in is what, Samuel? This building that I'm on the top floor of, okay, in this hypothetical sentence, okay, is what? Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there. And so, yeah, if it's the tallest building with that EST, next to it, we definitely know that there's not going to be taller buildings around it. And if we see that it's the newest in Philadelphia, we can already go ahead and cross out that there are newer buildings around it as well. Excellent. Good. All right. And is anybody walking? Is anybody walking from the top floor of a building? No. Okay, that's just crazy. All right, so here is our example of a reading passage. Now, one of the things that you'll notice differently between state standardized tests that you might take in public schools and the ISEE test is this one has line numbers on every line. I'm sure that you all have taken tests before where there might be line numbers every 5 lines, okay, or 10 lines or something like that. So this one's a little bit different from that. Yes, Samuel.
The 5 lines and 10 lines are poems, and the 1 lines are to let you give proof for your answer.
What level is this? This is the same ISEE Junior. It's the level for students that are applying to 5th and 6th grades. Okay, so students testing that are currently in 4th and 5th that are applying to 5th and 6th. All right, so a gentle shake woke Matthew from his sleep. Wake up, honey, we're about to land. Blinking groggily, Matthew adjusted his seat from its reclined to upright in locked position. For a second, Matthew forgot where he was. Suddenly he remembered, and a scowl spread across his face. Why did he have to spend his winter break on safari in South Africa? Sure, it was his mother's birthday, but why couldn't they just celebrate in Florida like they usually did? Matthew had no interest in waking up early every day of his vacation. That didn't sound like something relaxing. And for what? To see some animals? He had already seen all the animals he wanted to see in zoos and on TV. Couldn't his mom think of something more fun to do for a vacation? Was that really that much worse than flying to Florida? His mother continued. You slept almost the whole way. Matthew didn't answer, and instead crossed his arms and looked out the window. She was right. He had slept for most of the flight that he had been dreading. Outside, he could see a landscape unlike any other he had ever seen. When Matthew and his family stepped out of the airport, it was a warm and sunny December day. Why isn't it cold here? Matthew asked. You know it's summer here, right? His mother replied. In the southern hemisphere, the seasons are the opposite of what they are where we live. That's pretty cool, I guess. Matthew mumbled. Maybe this trip won't be so bad, Matthew thought to himself. The next morning, Matthew and his family went on their first safari game drive, a ride to look for animals. Matthew stared at his phone in boredom for what felt like hours. Sure, the scenery was beautiful, but because it was so early in the morning, he started to nod off. Just as he was about to fall asleep, the driver whispered loudly, Quiet, everyone. I think we have something. Matthew was suddenly alert. Do you think it's a lion? Matthew asked nervously. No, his mother responded as Matthew's expression clouded over with disappointment. Not one lion, but a whole family of lions. Matthew looked at where his mother was pointing, and his eyes went wide. Whoa, Matthew exclaimed. A lioness had just yawned. Flashing huge white teeth. Have you ever seen anything like that? His mother whispered. Matthew couldn't find the words to answer his mother. He couldn't stop smiling. All right. All right, so the main idea of the passage. So you remember I said that you'd have 15 comprehension questions, okay? And you would have 5 reading passages. No, 25 comprehension questions and 5 reading passages. So you have 5 reading questions per passage. All right, so before we look at this one, okay, we're going to look at the types of questions that we have, okay? So on the first one, okay, we have our state of the main idea questions, okay? Just your basic main idea questions. Another type that I would fall in here is your supporting details questions would fall into this. Your summary questions would fall into this. Okay, so that's your first type. Your second type here, okay, is your context clues questions. Okay, If you look at it, it's almost similar to the type of question that we saw in the verbal reasoning part. Okay. Moving down. Okay. How does Matthew feel? So this is a characterization question. Okay. When you have a characterization question, you're looking at the clues, okay, that are represented through the characters' motions, through their speech, through their writings and musings. Okay, good. When we look at number 4, okay, this is a cause and effect question. And we'll talk about those questions in class. Cause and effect questions could fall into multiple categories. One cause, one effect, one cause, many effects, many causes, one effect, and a cause and effect chain. All of those things can take place. Okay. And then finally, okay, we have a second cause and effect question with the why wasn't Matthew able to speak in the last paragraph of the passage? So now that we've established, okay, what type of questions these are, and that's step 1, and that's what we're going to look at as well with the students, is once they recognize what type of questions they come with the reading comprehension portion, they're better able to effectively attack those questions. So looking at number 1, okay. Okay, looking at number 1. With the main idea of the passage, okay, to tell about an unhappy child, okay. Well, is Matthew unhappy beginning, middle, and end? Olivia, is Matthew unhappy beginning, middle, and end?
Not really, because in the end, when he saw the lion, he was like surprised and like kind of like happy.
Yeah, so we get evidence that this one is not the case. Good. To explain why lions are a child's favorite animal, okay, is this focusing on the child or is it focusing on the lions, the story? Let's go with Lily. Does this story focus on the child or does it focus on lions? Okay. So it doesn't focus. So it's not focused on the lions. Okay. So that there are lions in the story, but it's not the focus of the story. So that makes 2 an answer that can go away. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So to describe a child's changing opinion about a vacation, or to convince the reader that safaris are more interesting than zoos. Okay, is this a persuasive paper? Samuel, okay, is this a persuasive paper?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, you need to recycle, or you need to go on. Oh, thank you, Elena. Okay, yes. You need to go on a safari because it helps the people of that area. Okay, all of those things would be persuasive, and this is not a persuasive paper. This is okay, a description paper of, okay, a characteristic. Good. Let's look at number in line 7. Scal most nearly meets. Okay. Now, should I even attempt to answer this without looking back at the story? And the answer is, yeah, the answer is no. Very clearly no. Okay. If they give you the story, okay, then you should be using the story to help you out. Good. So let's take a look at line 7 of the story. Suddenly he remembered, okay, and a scowl spread across his face. Okay, so a scowl can be something on his face, okay? But let's go back another sentence. For a second, okay, so we go up and then blinking groggily, Matthew adjusted his seat from its reclined position to its upright and locked position. For a second, Matthew forgot where he was. Suddenly, he remembered, and a scowl spread across his face. Why did he have to spend his winter break on safari in South Africa? Sure, it was his mother's birthday, but why couldn't they just celebrate in Florida? So actually, for me, it's before it and that start of that next sentence that really drives home, okay, how he's feeling. So I get that it's on a face, okay? Frown, smile, confused look, neutral expression. All of these things happen on a face. That doesn't help me. Then I say a scowl, okay? Well, it's spread because he was unhappy, okay? Okay, well, if he's unhappy, that's definitely not a cheerful smile. And if he's unhappy, unhappy is different, okay, from confused. So now that leaves me with neutral expression or, okay, an angry frown. Okay. And it's going to be, okay, it isn't a neutral expression, but I like how you're thinking in emoji terms. Elena, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's an angry frown.
Yeah, an angry frown. Good. All right. So, how does Matthew feel upon learning that December in South Africa is a summer month? Is a summer month. Okay. Confused because South Africa was colder than he expected. Okay. Well, if he's just learning, okay, that it's a summer month, why would it be colder than he's expected and he be confused, right? So that one's out. So let's look at B. Surprised because December is a winter month where he lives. Is it a winter month in Florida? Elena, is December a winter month in Florida? Okay, yes. Okay, she answered in the chat. Okay, yes. But here's the problem. Okay, a lot of students will just, as they're going down, they'll see the right answer, click the right answer, and won't read the rest of them. Okay, you need to, okay, check all the answers, okay, and get rid of those wrong answers before you lock in an answer. Okay, so we look at indifferent because the new information he just learned is not interesting to him. Well, we can check that in a minute. Frustrated because he doesn't understand why his mother is saying it's summer. Well, we know that one's not the case because he seems like she's saying summer because it is summer. Okay, so that leaves us with B and C. Okay, and we see that he's more surprised than indifferent. Okay, and you can kind of guess what indifferent means. Indifferent means that you don't feel one way or another. Okay, we might have time to come back and do number 4 and 5 in a second. Because I wanted to leave it open for Q&A. So these are the hours of operation for momentum. Okay. Also, on the first day of class, I'll be providing my email address to students that they can email me if they're having trouble with any of the Google Drive or any of that formatting. Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Students, parents, guardians, anybody? Yes, Olivia. And Olivia, you can either speak it or type it, either way.
Hi, this is Olivia's mom.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
I have a question. So I guess the handout will be uploaded to Canvas website before the class. Is that how it goes?
Yes. So I'll provide each student will have a folder in Google Drive.
Okay.
And the handouts and the homeworks will be in those folders, and they'll be labeled with homework for well, the first homework will be for, it'll say homework for August 30th.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. The reason we use Google Drive is it's easy for everybody to access, but also if you have to miss a class, say there's another function. I know some schools have functions where you just can't miss it. And so if there is a function, I do upload some of the notes from the session, some of the activities from the class, and then there's also the homework will be there as well in that folder. Good question. Anybody else have a question? So there will be 3 mock tests that we'll be taking throughout the course. Okay, 3 full mock tests where we're taking it in its entirety. But also during the course, we're breaking apart different mock tests in order to have the students experience those different parts in their gruelingness. Anybody else have a question? All right, so we'll go back and we'll look at number 4 and 5 real quick for the sample reading questions. And we might end up doing a couple extra of the verbal reasoning questions right before the end of this open house. So why was Matthew nodding off in line 43? So Elena, okay, when I think of somebody nodding off, okay, what are they doing if they're nodding off? Yeah. Yes, Elena, you're fine. And yes, Olivia, your emoji is on point. Elena, I know you said 1 second. I'll get back to you in just a second. But yes, so they would be tired. Okay. So if we're looking at it, okay, in line 43, so we're going to go back here. Okay. But because it was so early in the morning, he started to nod off. Oh, it tells us that it's early in the morning. Okay, good. So is it right after the plane ride? No, this is the next day, I think. Okay, he was bored waiting for his vehicle to start moving. Okay, well, it doesn't mention his boredom at all. Okay, so that leaves us with he didn't want to disturb the lions, or he was tired because it was so early. Okay, and as Olivia just described in emoji form, okay, that nodding off is something people do when they are tired. Okay, so tired, okay, would be a reason, okay, that he was nodding off. And it does tell us it was early in the morning. Let's look at number 5. Why wasn't Matthew able to speak in the last paragraph of the passage? Okay, so we're looking for a reasoning, okay, or a cause and effect for why he isn't able to speak. Why is he not talking? Okay. So looking at it, okay, the driver instructed everybody to be quiet. Let's go check. Okay, so the driver does whisper loudly, quiet everyone. I think we have something. I think we have something. Okay, but Matthew immediately talks after the driver says to be quiet. So is Matthew concerned, okay, about what the driver wants? And the answer is probably not really. Okay, because if he was concerned about what the driver wanted, he wouldn't be talking immediately after the driver says, quiet, everyone. Okay, let's look at B. He was scared after seeing the lioness's teeth. Okay, so if we're looking at it, okay, he does exclaim, whoa. Okay, but do we have any clues that dictate that he is afraid? Not really. Okay, good. Let's look at number or C. He was bored from the long game drive so early in the morning. Again, it's trying to tell us that he's bored, okay, but is, okay, okay, so right here, Matthew stared at his phone in boredom for what felt like hours. That's up there. That's not why he's speaking, not speaking. Okay, so we end up looking at he was so happy to see a lion during his family's game drive. And that's our best answer, okay, because, okay, it's what, it's because it's why he was not talking, but it's also the best answer because it deals with the story. Good. All right, let's look at, we'll do one of these and a couple of the other synonyms. Good. Let's look at number 2. The school decided to cast Samantha as the lead in their production of the musical Grease because, so if you're the lead, okay, if you're the lead of a drama, okay, like Grease would be, okay, let's see. Are you going to look for a student who isn't a very good student? Probably not. Okay. If the play, okay, if Samantha's going to be the lead, there also couldn't have already been good reviews. So it's not that either. Then we also look at, okay, that you wouldn't want a lead, okay, that isn't a convincing actress. Those are kind of, as long as you understand that the lead is the most important person and that this is a production of sorts, okay, that one is actually very easy. Let's look at this one. Number 3. When Anastasia moved to a new city, she knew she had to blank to a new lifestyle and find new friends. Okay, so we see, okay, where we get this word new a lot. New. Okay, new friends, new lifestyle. Okay, so when you're in something new, okay, are you going to cease to something new? Well, cease is a synonym of stop. Okay, and stop to something new makes absolutely 0 sense. So stop, cease is out. Okay. Do people demand a new lifestyle? No, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so then we get adapt and happen. Okay, and she could be happening into a new lifestyle, but the best answer for this one is that she is going to adapt into a new lifestyle. And we see that difference there. And the last one that we're going to look at is we'll look at let's see, we'll look at catastrophe. Okay. So with catastrophe, we look at chaos and we look at problem and we're thinking about that. And although nobody's family reunion is the greatest, I doubt you would put reunion and catastrophe as synonyms. So reunion is out. And we all have bad moods every once in a while, but putting mood and catastrophe or chaos as synonyms would be problematic. Okay. And so that leaves us with boon or misfortune. Okay. And we get that miss, that prefix in there. And that's I'm glad that we did this option, because prefixes are something that we're going to be working on in here. Miss, dis, all of those. So because those prefixes help you to dissect these words. And so we'll end there. Are there any questions about the format of the test or the class? Now, during the actual class, there will be some review portions. There will be the game portions. Okay. And then there will be where we're deconstructing the reading passages or the sentence completion portions from the verbal reasoning. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us this evening. If you have any questions, feel free to pass them to the Momentum, and then they'll get them to me. But on the first day of the class, my email will be shared with the students, and it'll be on the bottom of the homework as well. Okay. All righty. Thank you, folks.